It's the VMX show, season 6. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the VMX show. It's season 6, episode 11. At least one of you was surprised. Yeah, there's 12 episodes per season, not 10. A couple of you guys thought that last week was the last show. I got a lot to go through. I don't have a guest this week. It seems to be a trend. A lot of people like to be on the show in the beginning of the season, not so much at the end. We'll see what happens. People ask me, can I be a guest, but they never get on Skype and talk to me, so whatever. I do have a lot of questions and comments, and I do have a lot of news to go over, or at least a lot of interesting news to go over. So let's get to the questions and comments right now. Alright, starting off, okay, let's start off with this idiot. This guy named Toad Lol What the Fuck Barbecue. He posts anti-first. Look, I don't care if you post first or not first or anti-first or this is a guard against somebody. I don't want you to fucking post like that. Don't fucking post something if you don't have something to say, you idiot. And then he posted another one that says, hey, Necro, what do you want me to say to that? Don't post first. Don't post anti-first. Don't post any of its derivative. I'm just going to delete this right now. The only reason it's still there is because I wanted to yell at the guy. Remove both of his idiot comments. All right, let's see. The real first comment. Let's see. John Stone New 1985 says, LOL, NecroVMX is the funniest person ever. Well, I don't know about that, but thanks. And he has two numbered questions for me. Are you getting Dawn Guard? Yeah, eventually. I'm kind of reluctant to return to Skyrim right now because I've spent so much time with it. I mean, I must have logged 80 and 90 hours in Skyrim easily. And I did everything there was to do, and now it's like to go back, I'm just kind of like, I've kind of moved on, and I don't want to get sucked in again to the world of Skyrim. Eventually I'll get Dawn Guard and Hearthfire and all that shit, though. Number 2, are you going to not LP Mega Man X7 and LP Mega Man X8 after... Okay, I get what you're asking me. So you're assuming that I'm going to do all the Mega Man X games, and you're thinking that I'm going to skip past 7 and do 8, because 7's terrible. And you're right that 7 is terrible, and that I will never LP it, although I'm not sure that I would LP X8 either. If I do the Mega Man X series, I would probably stop at Mega Man X6, just so you know. Let's see, moving on. The Castle Boss says, hey Necro, great show. I haven't seen this question being asked before, although I have only been around since Season 6 started. What does VMX stand for? Thanks and many apologies if you've already answered that. I have answered that, and it's kind of a long story, and it's not a very interesting one. So I'm just going to tell you the Reader's Digest version. It doesn't stand for anything, so don't worry about it. Let's see, moving on. Doug911Help says, the best show ever. Once again, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. Chris Collett says, it's the VMX show season 6 for Christ's sake, LOL. Right, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I have a question. What do you think about Resident Evil 6 Collector's Edition? I agree with you about Earthbound. I like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. I don't think anything about Resident Evil 6 Collector's Edition. I generally don't deal with Collector's Editions. They're generally expensive and not really worth it. Omega Minion says, agreed, Earthbound is overrated. There you go. See, I'm not the only one. Well, I know Tanya agrees with me, too. Hotmail25... let me read this guy's name correctly. Hotmail527 says, that sucks, love anime. And he had a little frowny face. Dude, you could love anime. I don't care if you love it. I just don't like it. I don't care if you like it. Why do you care if I don't like it? There you go. Alright, Elongated Flash says, two numbered questions. Number 1, did you like the 90s Aquaman change? And number 2, do you like Subway? Alright. Aquaman, alright. Very underrated character, very underrated superhero. There seems to be this general consensus that Aquaman is really, really lame. And this came from the Super Friends in the 1960s. The Super Friends, first of all, everybody in that was lame. Even Batman was lame in the Super Friends. The show was lame. But Aquaman was not only lame, he was also useless. He didn't do anything unless there was water involved, and it made people think that Aquaman's only superpower was talking to fish, which is not true. Now, I've always thought Aquaman was a really cool character that got a really bad rap, and then there was a line of writers that didn't know what to do with him. During the 90s, I mean, obviously you know what you're referring to, but I'm just for everybody else's benefit. They tried to make him edgy by giving him like really long hair and like a scraggly beard, and they cut off one of his hands and replaced it with a hook, and he got all moody and emo, and it was lame. It was more 90s comics bullshit. The new Aquaman series, as written by Jeff Johns, is really awesome, by the way. And by the way, Aquaman's power is not talking to fish. He's incredibly fast. He's as strong as, at least as strong as Wonder Woman, possibly stronger. He is bulletproof, and he has a trident that can pierce anything. So, there you go. Do I like Subway? Yeah, I like Subway. I love Subway. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite sandwiches to get there, because I know I'm going to get this question, is I like to get the steak and cheese with spinach leaves, and every time I fucking go, they're out of spinach, but I like a lot of spinach on the sandwich, and they either never put enough, or they're like, oh, we don't have any spinach, and I'm like, oh, that must be really popular. I'm like, no, not really. Well, how come you're always fucking out of it? And on black olives, so that and then like I don't put any sauce on that one, actually. The other one that I like is the sweet onion chicken teriyaki, which is really awesome. All right. Hotmail527 posted again, says, I still love you, no homo. Okay. All right, I'm not going to read that idiot's comment. This person has just been trolling. I'm just going to delete that. Nahu Video says, hi, Necro. Greetings from Argentina. Well, hello. Good show as always. I have 3 questions for you. You have 3 questions, but you only posted 2. Alright. Number 1, do you play an instrument? Yeah, skin flute. No, I'm joking. I don't play any instruments now. And number 2, do you like the Beatles or the Red Hot Chili Peppers? I guess you can consider that 2 questions. I like the Beatles and I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, so there you go. And he says thanks, and you're welcome. Let's see. Hong Ping Mike. Okay. Just so you know, Hong Ping Mike, when you post multiple times the same thing over and over again, it marks it as spam. So when you go and see if you accidentally double post and you go and you delete your original post, make sure you don't even do that, because it marks the second one as spam. Alright, I'm just going to hit non-spam on that. Okay, so Hong Ping Mike says, Necro, I love your shows, but please, my friend, don't be so rude to your viewers. I'm not rude to my viewers. I'm rude if I need to be rude. If people are rude to me, I will be rude to them. He's going on, don't tell people to fuck off and call them names. No, if people need to be told to fuck off, I will tell them to fuck off. If people need to be called names, I will call them names. I don't care. You have to understand that that whole persona, that is a huge part of the appeal of the show and the channel. People like that. Okay? A lot of people like my attitude. If you don't like the attitude, don't fucking watch the show, you Nimrod. Alright, moving on. Like, I gotta be nice to everybody? Fuck that. I'm only gonna be nice to cool people. Alright, let's see. Uber McPhailsaw says, is there any chance you and Tanya and Armageddon Time would all record an episode of List Critics together? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it was you. It was Uber McPhailsaw gave me the idea, and actually, day before yesterday, me and Tanya and Jesse all got together and recorded an episode of List Critics, which I can't tell you when it'll be up, but it'll be up soon. Looks like I skipped somebody's comment. Let me go back here. But yeah, I want to let you know that it was Uber McPhailsauce that gave me the idea to do that. And we may do it again in the future because the 3 of us had a lot of fun. Muga42 says, I am a new subscriber, so I don't understand your involvement with Chronicles of a Dark Lord. Are you among the developers? You don't have much of a bio, and how many of the episodes I would need to listen to find info by myself is daunting. That's true. I really enjoy listening to you and appreciate you. Well, thank you. I do work for Kazarth Studios, which is the developer of Chronicles of a Dark Lord, and have had a very heavy hand in the creation of the game, which is available for purchase at KazaraStudios.com, and I highly recommend it if you're into RPGs. It's way better than Earthbound. Move along. Bronze Penguin CP says, hi, Necro, I have 2 questions. The first one is, are you doing or planning anything special for episode 12 of this season? Nothing planned special. No, not really. Might have a guest. We'll see. My second question is, have you ever played a bootleg game that was actually decent? Thank you and keep up the good work. And I think the whole Earthbound thing is stupid. People have their own opinions on different things, but I guess some people can't seem to realize that. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Played a bootleg game that actually was good. That's a hard one. It probably didn't stick out of my head if I have, because the bootleg games that stick out of my head are the really bad ones. So I couldn't tell you. Yeah. Moving along, man. Future Gamer 24 says, "Are you ever going to do a Final Fantasy VI Let's Play?" It's certainly possible, and I would do it in a shorter amount of time than 37 months that it took Armageddon time to get through it. I like to tease him about that. He didn't even realize how long it took. I said, you finally finished Final Fantasy VI, and I went to your channel, and I went back to see when the very first video in Final Fantasy VI LP was uploaded. 37 months it took you. That's amazing. So it would take me a shorter amount of time. Final Fantasy VI, that's way off. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be way in the future. Solo 2.0 says, "Hey, I got a few questions. Do you own every gaming system, and do you like rap music? If not, you should try Eminem. You won't be..." Eminem? That's what you recommend for rap music? Eminem? Are you kidding me? Are you for real, dude? Oh my... Alright, I like every type of music, and that does include some rap and hip-hop. Because there's good and bad in all genres of music. But Eminem sucks. He is terrible. He is a whiny little white bitch from Detroit who made up a whole story about growing up poor when he actually grew up very affluent, and his mom being terrible to him, and he had a hard childhood when in fact he had a great childhood. And he created this whole fake persona of Slim Shady, and it's so lame, and all he does is whine, and I hate his voice, and, Eminem, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. If you want to listen to a white rapper, go listen to Necro, and I don't mean myself, and no, I'm not named after the guy, but there was a rapper named Necro. Go look him up. Now, that's some good shit. I'm going to move on. Oh, wait, he had another question. Do I own every gaming system? Absolutely not. I don't think there's anybody that owns every gaming system except for maybe like James Rolfe or somebody. I mean, just off the top of my head from this current generation, I do not have a PlayStation 3. I do not have a Vita, and I do not have a 3DS. I don't have the original Xbox. I only have the 360. I don't have every system, so no. Moving along. Multi-Shadow Kid says, "When did you start getting into emulation?" Wow, that's going back. I was into emulation in the late 90s. I want to say 97. There was... this is almost the black ages of emulation, but... I remember the names of the emulators that we used, like Nesticle for the NES and Genesis for the Genesis, and those are so horribly outdated now. And what's funny is the very first Super NES emulator I ever used was SNES 9X, and I still use it. It wasn't very good then, but then I got into ZSNES, and that was like way better. But then ZSNES never got updated, and when it did, they weren't updating much. And then SNES 9X flew right past it, so I used that again. It's funny. But yeah, 1997, I was getting into it. So there you go. Let's see. WWE QQA says, "I got two questions. The first one is, are you and Armageddon Time going to do anything like VMX Show Games?" VMX Show Games. And as a kid, what was your fave candy? I don't know what you mean by VMX Show Games. Me and Armageddon Time, you know what? I actually read that properly, even though this is what he actually wrote. You and Amgina Time. Amgina Time. That's what you called him. It's Armageddon Time, not Amgina Time. Well, we got the List Critics episode that he guested on. That's coming up. But Jesse's... he's got a new girlfriend, and she just moved in with him, so... the bulk of his time, I think, is spent boning right now, so you gotta, kind of give him a pass. Dude's getting laid. As for, my favorite candy as a kid... Oh, that's... I don't think I really had a favorite because I've never been a huge candy person. I've always been more into real food. But as a kid, I'm trying to think. Well, you know what? M&Ms are probably my favorite as a kid, and I still have a soft spot for the M&Ms. So I'm just going to say that. Super All Movies says, for horror movie franchise reviews, can you review the Saw movies? I have no plans to review the entirety of the Saw films, but if I ever do the 10 Days of Killers, which is not what I'm doing this year, by the way, I would definitely put the original Saw in there. Moving on. Oh, and he posted again, Super All Movie says, which Chrono Trigger version do you think is the best one out of the several ports compared to the original Super NES version? Definitely the DS one. It has a better translation, it has a ton of additional content, and it runs a lot smoother than the PlayStation one. Stenley 002 says, do you like Edgar Wright's movies? Now, oh man, off the top of my head, I have no idea who that is, so I'm going to have to look it up. I bet you it's like, oh, that guy. Edgar Wright, let's see. He did Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which sucked. Shaun of the Dead. I like Shaun of the Dead. Okay. Those are the only two of his movies. Oh, he did Hot Fuzz. I saw like a little bit of that. I thought it was dumb. So I'm going to say no to that. I liked Shaun of the Dead, but for the most part, no, not really. They're making an Ant-Man movie, and this guy's directing it? Why would you make an Ant-Man movie? Whatever. All right, moving on. The Programmer 2290 says, how do you find the time to do all that you do on YouTube? Well, you know, it's not really all that time-consuming. I maybe spend about an hour a day doing YouTube stuff, and on Friday, none at all. So, yeah, there you go. If you have an hour a day, you could do what I do. Red Devil Dazzy 2007 says, good episode, Necro. Keep up the good work, dude. Well, thank you. Ultimate Keymaster says, hey, Necro, got two similar but quick questions for you. Do you have a game or game franchise you want to see a sequel, remake, or re-release of? Not off the top of my head that's not already being done. And on that note, is there a game that you wouldn't want to see a new release of? When you see a giant group of people wanting it, you want to punch them through the internet? Well, to a certain extent, I would say that Tomb Raider definitely fits that. But then again, I've seen the new Tomb Raider, and I'm like, okay, that kind of looks like what it should have been to begin with. But then again, like, just, it, you know, at this point, it's become Uncharted with tits. So, I don't know. I really don't like the Halo series, but I have some friends that are into it, so I'm not going to say I want to punch them through the internet. I'm going to move on here. I don't really get too worked up about things like that. The Amazing Tony Rose says, everybody is entitled to their opinions. It doesn't bother me if you say you don't like Earthbound. There's nothing wrong with not liking a game, even if a lot of people do like it. For example, I don't really enjoy Morrowind, but a lot of people do. Many people need to grow the fuck up and stop whining just because somebody doesn't like the same game. Well, here. You know, Morrowind's one of my favorite games, but I'm not going to, like, say you're an idiot or be disappointed that you don't like it. Who cares what you like, and who cares what I like? Everybody's got to like what they like. So I totally agree with the Amazing Tony Rose there. Kakarot 1436. Sorry, I didn't read that he had already asked about the Rush album. That's not a big deal. And he also posted, which game in the Metal Slug series is your favorite? And have you played the Quantum of Solace game? If you have, what is your opinion of it? I played the one on PlayStation 2 because everybody told me that was the best one. I thought it was pretty badass. Metal Slug, you know what? I actually have all of them, and I rarely play them, so I couldn't tell you. I have the collection on the Wii that has all of them, but like every once in a while I'll sit down and I'll pick one at random and I'll play it, but I couldn't tell you which ones I like more than the others. Another spam. Let me hit that. Not spam. Okay. I didn't get around to making up a dumb shit question. Oh, this is Dimebag Zombie. I didn't get around to making up a dumb shit question. Here goes a half-assed attempt to redeem myself. Okay, so he's got 4 numbered questions. Number 1, Kathy Bates versus Rosie O'Donnell in real-life Mortal Kombat. Wow, I don't think anybody would want to see that. I guess Kathy Bates would definitely win, though, because she actually looks like she could fight, whereas Rosie O'Donnell just looks like she could sit there and be indignant. So there you go. Number 2, who do you think was the thing at the end of John Carpenter's The Thing? Who do I think? Oh, you know what? I'm not going to talk about that because I might review that movie one day, so I'm not going to talk about that one. Number 3, I'm in pretty deep with the Russian mob and I'm in trouble. Would you me a favor? That's what he wrote. Would you me a favor and read the rest of this sentence? Thank you. All right. And number 4, I'm not very creative, so this slot isn't really a question as much as it is just me saying Jeffrey Combs is a cool actor. All right. Okay. Honestly, the only part of that was anywhere near valid was the first part. So there you go. I'm going to move on here. I'm just going to very slowly back away from that. very slowly with a look of abject horror on my face, and move to the next one. Dark Hill Pick 28. I've got 2 questions. Number 1, are you a fan of Ernest Hemingway? Of course. Greatest writer of all time, almost. And number 2, are you planning to see The Hobbit Part 1 around December? Yeah, I am, actually. I was a little skeptical at first about breaking it into different movies, but when I saw the trailer for The Hobbit Part 1, or I think they're calling it The Hobbit An Unexpected Journey, or whatever it is, it looks awesome. So there you go. Bliss and Nirvana said, are there any songs or albums that you like that are made by bands you don't like? As a confession as this is, I really like the song Snuff by Slipknot, even though I detest Slipknot, or Slapnut, as you call them, with a passion. Well, let's see. Bands I don't like that did songs that I do like. Oh, well, I hate the Rolling Stones. I think they're just like the most overrated piece of shit band in existence. But what was that one song that I do like by them? I can't think of it now. They've done at least one song that I like. Gimme Shelter is a pretty decent one. So there you go. That I actually came up with an answer. All right. Alex Shannon says, what do you think of the Hobbit trilogy? I actually just kind of went over that. Is it a trilogy now? Yeah, that's some bullshit. All right. Do you have any experience in PlayStation 1 modding? No, I don't. What is your opinion of Sonic 06 and Sonic the Hedgehog in general? Crap, and used to be great, but now it's crap. Have you ever made a custom PC from scratch and modded an existing one? I have built my own PC. I've modded my PC as well, so there you go. Any ideas or speculations about the features you want the next generation of gaming consoles to have? No, not really. I think they're going in a good direction. I think that, the Wii U has a strong direction. I'm not so sure about the next Xbox, even though I really like the 360. If they're going to integrate the Kinect, I think it's just going to drive the price up, and I'm not interested in Kinect. So we'll see. Ever play Kaijo or Magic the Gathering? No, I have a girlfriend. There's a storm hitting southern USA. Thoughts? What do you mean, thoughts? It's a fucking storm. What do you want me to wax poetic about it? Nature happens. Have you ever had any game-crashing bugs in Skyrim? Yeah, I have, actually. A couple of times it froze on me. Like, maybe 2 or 3 times in my entirety playing Skyrim, which for a Bethesda game is pretty good. Always happy to watch your videos. Well, thank you. Oh, and he posted it again. Okay, Necro, I'm sorry about the thing is NAND flash memory is faster than disk-based media, and I find optical media less reliable. What are you talking about, dude? I'm going to move on. I don't know. What is... And he posted again! Oh my god. Okay, with all those mods that remove the use of disk drives and the downloaded games, as well as the ability to copy Xbox 360 games onto the hard drive, discs become more... Whatever. You know what? I have no interest in what you're saying. I'm sorry. Let's see. Nettlebox says, I loved your Dragon Quest / Dragon Warrior playthrough, especially when you effed up on buying the Silver Shield because you were tired. I was really tired. It made me dig up my old NES card and replay the game again for fun. Can't wait to see the Dragon Quest 2 video, even if it doesn't happen for a while. I'm definitely going to look for the Game Boy colored versions now, since they are so much more detailed and faster to complete. Actually, it takes about the same amount of time, really. It seems faster because I know what I'm doing. Super Jim Bob 95 says, how many times do you say so there you have it or so there you go in a typical VMX show episode? How the fuck should I know? I don't count how many times I say a particular thing. Shank Zombie says, hi Necro, great show as always. I have a question. Do you have Steam, and if so, what it is? I do have Steam. That's NecroVMX, I'm pretty sure. And also, would you ever do a playthrough of one of the Resident Evil games? No. No, I would not. And finally, Shank Zombie said, also, I saw a copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga out of store for like $300. That is insane, and that's why I don't have the game. It is expensive as fuck. Very rare game for the Saturn. You know, I wish that Saturn games could be brought to like, like Xbox Live Arcade or PSN or something. That would be cool. Kind of like the PS1 classics are. Sega should, because Sega was doing that with Dreamcast games, so why not with some of the Saturn games, so that way we can have Panzer Dragoon Saga or Nights into Dreams or whatever. That would be really cool, I think. So there you go. So let's get on to the news. For those of you who have been extending your Skyrim experience for Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and Elder Scrolls V Dawnguard, there is a new one coming out, the Elder Scrolls V Hearthfire. This one is more of a. It's not like a big campaign or nothing. Basically, you can now once you have Hearthfire, you can buy your own land. You can build your own house. It can be a little shack. It could be a big ass castle. You can adopt children. You can customize your home. There's some new quests. Your home could be attacked by monsters or bandits or whatever. So it looks like more of a small key DLC that is coming out. Trying to see what the release date is. I know that I know that it was coming out for Xbox soon. Actually, I think it's already available on Xbox. No news as to when it'll be available on like Steam or whatever. Now, I do have a little bit of news about the new Super Smash Bros. Game that's coming to the Wii U and the 3DS. Don't get too excited. It's not anything big. But according to Masahiro Sakurai, who is the director of the series, he said that the new game, which is so far untitled, will have lots of new and exciting moves for existing characters, and he mentioned that there will be a bunch of new characters. So they're shaking it up a little bit. Speaking of the Wii U, people around PAX and other conventions and whatnot have spotted Wii U units out in the wild, and some of them are black. We don't know if the actual console is going to be black or if it's going to be like the Wii, where it comes in multiple colors. But apparently there is a leaked photo out there of a Wii U unit which is seen as being black. So there's that. One game that I have been enjoying the shit out of lately, and if you have me on Steam, you know I've been playing the shit out of, is The Binding of Isaac. Well, I could tell you, The Binding of Isaac is going to be completely remade for Xbox Live Arcade and for PC. It's not like an HD remake, like that kind of thing. Basically, they're going to rebalance the game. Here is what Edmund McMillan himself had to say on it. The remake will be more than just an expansion. It will be a new game with all new graphics, music, etc. It will also feature an expansion-sized pack of all new content, bosses, characters, enemies, items, etc. And yes, in about a year, if and when that comes out, the Flash version of the game will appear obsolete for sure. And the goal is to keep the cost of the remake as close to Isaac plus Wrath as possible as well. And apparently it's also going to run smoother than Binding of Isaac does, so there you have there. So if you're into Binding of Isaac, you might be interested in that remake version. The Vita has gotten more PlayStation 1 Classic games added to the Vita store. And these are already available, and this is what you can now get. You can get Alundra, Arc the Lad 2, Championship Bass, Extreme Pinball, Grandia, High Octane, The Track Fight High Octane, The Track Fights Back, Klonoa, The Door to the Phantom Isle, Magic Carpet, Medal of Honor Underground, Nuclear Strike, Oddworld Abe's Exodus, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Populous The Beginning, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, Rayman, Rayman 2, SimCity 2000, Soviet Strike, Tekken, Tekken 2, Theme Hospital, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Tomba, Vanguard Bandits, and Wing Commander 4 are all available for the Vita through the PlayStation 1 Classic Store, so you can check those out now if you're interested. Certainly, I would get Alundra. So there you go. The next sequel to Final Fantasy XIII, I told you I'd probably be talking about this. You might as well call it Final Fantasy XIII-3, but the title is Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII, taking the series in a completely new direction. All we have is some artwork and a logo right now, but this has been available. They said that Lightning will have customizable gear, and the setting is called Navis Partus, so you can check that out. If you want to check out a lot of example, there's the blog that you can check out at andreasang.com/con2g. Well, just go to andreasang.com and look it up. So there you go. So that's what's going on. A trailer was shown over at the Final Fantasy Gallery event for the 25th anniversary, but it has not yet been released to the internet. So there you go. But I'm excited. I like the Final Fantasy 13 series, and this sounds like pretty cool. Okay, so here we go. A little bit of news from GameStop. GameStop is currently considering getting into vintage games. So this is really interesting, actually. What did I do here? Just undo whatever it is that I just did. All right, hold on a second. I fucked it up. Okay, here we are. I found it. GameStop is suggesting. Listen to me. They're considering going into vintage games, and this is what the GameStop CEO Paul Raines had to say. If you go to eBay and you look on all the gaming stuff, what's on there? It's unbelievable. Collector stuff. We've got to be in that business. We will be. We think there's a vintage sales opportunity, so we're accumulating some inventory. It's a big idea, and there's a few problems with it. The first is sourcing the product, the condition, the refurbishment, all that stuff. But there's a customer for it, and we're working on some stuff we haven't announced yet. So there you go. La Mulana is finally coming to the Wii, and that's coming out on September 20th. Of course, you could have already gotten it on Steam, but if you were looking forward to La Mulana, the MSX-styled Metroidvania type of game, which looks really awesome, that is finally coming to the Wii September 20th. Also on September 20th, Torchlight 2 finally getting a release date after many, many delays. So that's what's going on there. Let's see, I do have some info. I talked about this last week about Marvel vs. Capcom Origins. Let's see. Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which is a collection of Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel superheroes, basically a double pack. I can tell you the price will be $15 on PlayStation Network and 1,200 Microsoft points on Xbox Live Arcade. And that is coming September 25th for PlayStation Network and September 26th for Xbox Live Marketplace. So there you go. Let's see, speaking of release dates, I do have some info on Monster Rancher... not Monster Rancher, listen to me. Fuck Monster Rancher. Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter 4, the big Capcom RPG, that's coming out... I thought I had a... No, I don't have a release date. I'm sorry, I don't have a release date. But I do know that it will be shown at the Tokyo Game Show, which is happening September 20th through 23rd. And so you could check it out there. That was it. I didn't have a release date. I had some info. Back to Skyrim for a second. The Elder Scrolls V Dawnguard has not been released for PlayStation 3, and according to Bethesda, it may never be released for PlayStation 3. So there's a thought. As you know, the PlayStation 3 port of Skyrim itself was very troubled, and apparently the technical issues that they faced with Skyrim are very compounded with Dawnguard. So there you have. Here is a statement directly from Bethesda Softworks. We have tried a number of things, but none of them solve the issue enough to make Dawnguard good for everyone. The PlayStation 3 is a powerful system, and we're working hard to deliver the content you guys want. Dawnguard is obviously not the only DLC we've been working on either, so the issues of adding content get even more complicated. This is not a problem we're positive we can solve, but we're working together with Sony to try to bring you this content. What is the problem? They're not saying, but I would guess that it's the frame rate issues that they've been having with Skyrim in the past, which are still not completely fixed. Probably just get compounded by the Dawnguard add-on, so there you have it. And finally, my final news story. This wound up being a rather short show, huh? You know what it is that I had a lot to go over, but I talked fast. So there you have it. My final news story has to do with Final Fantasy, but not the Final Fantasy 13-3, which is actually called Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, but about a Final Fantasy boxed set that is going to be coming, and it's going to be incredibly expensive. I think $450 was the price quoted. I'm having a hard time actually bringing up the info here. Oh, God, what a pain in the ass. Give me a second here, folks. Alright, I have it here. Okay, now, this is interesting because, as a collection, it's for many, many different systems because you're getting all of the Final Fantasy games. It's called the Final Fantasy 25th Anniversary Ultimate Box. And this is coming out in Japan for 35,000 yen, which is about $446 or $7. So there you have it. It includes Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, as well as all the add-ons for Final Fantasy 11. None of the side games or Final Fantasy 14 are included. Now, just based on the pictures that I'm seeing, it seems that it is for multiple systems, and I'm trying to figure out which games are for which systems. It looks like, okay, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 will be the PlayStation versions, PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy 3, I see it on a UMD disc, so that's actually coming, the PSP version, which isn't even out yet. Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 are the PlayStation versions. 7, 8, and 9, also the PlayStation versions. 10, 11, and 12, obviously for PlayStation 2, and 13 is the PlayStation 3 version. So it's all Sony all the time. You know, no DS, no Game Boy Advance, no Xbox, none of that. So that's what's going on. No news on whether that'll actually come out in America. I'm guessing probably not. It apparently also comes with an art book, a special video, a 2-disc soundtrack, a code for an item in Final Fantasy XIV, and a statue of a Moogle. So, you know, wow. If you could ever afford that, you know. That's sort of like that Street Fighter box set that I reported on a few months ago, I think it was. So there you have it. Wow. So there you go. But yeah, that's it for the news. I'm going to go on to the sales figures for this week. So let's go to Japan. Let's go to Japan first. The top 10 best-selling games in Japan for the week ending in August 19th. The number one best-selling game was New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS. That sold 150,408 copies. Pokemon Black and White version 2 for DS sold 60,120 copies. Dragon Quest X on the Wii sold 46,402 copies. Just Dance Wii 2 on the Wii sold 23,737 copies. That game with a really long title that's basically Brain Age Demon Edition for the 3DS, that sold 20,770 copies. 3DS, Taiko no Tatsujin Chibi Dragon no Fushigi Orb for the 3DS. That sold 19,645 copies. Tosutsu Shiju Saiko no Hunter Tachi Kara Nagakire for 3DS. That sold 14,895 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 14,777 copies. Kirby's Dream Collection Special Edition for the Wii. That sold 13,108 copies. And Kobe Dotsuken Kobito Kansatsu Set on the 3DS sold 12,668 copies. I just realized this top 10 list is completely dominated by Nintendo. 3DS, DS, Wii, 3DS, 3DS, Wii, 3DS. No Sony at all. Wow. Over in Europe, it's quite different. New Super Mario Bros. 2 was the top-selling game for the 3DS, though. In Europe, that was 156,050 copies. Sleeping Dogs on the Xbox 360 sold 65,943 copies. Sleeping Dogs for PlayStation 3 sold 59,692 copies. Darksiders 2 on PlayStation 3 sold 41,714 copies. London 2012, the official video game of the Olympic Games, on Xbox 360 sold 32,549 copies. The same game on PlayStation 3 sold 28,924 copies. Darksiders 2 for Xbox 360 sold 22,743 copies. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS sold 19,014 copies. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes on the Xbox 360 sold 16,815 copies. And Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS sold 16,592 copies. Here in America, the top-selling game was also New Super Mario Bros. 2 that sold 178,857 copies. That's on the 3DS, of course. Darksiders 2 on the Xbox 360 sold 32,305 copies. Sleeping Dogs on the Xbox 360 sold 26,070 copies. Darksiders 2 on the PlayStation 3 sold 23,348 copies. Sleeping Dogs on PlayStation 3 sold 18,614 copies. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS sold 16,512 copies. The Last Story on the Wii sold 15,728 copies. Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS sold 15,484 copies. Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance on the 3DS sold 14,190 copies. And NCAA Football 13 on Xbox 360 sold 13,145 copies. So globally, Mario was the big winner with New Super Mario Bros. 2, but actually the real big winner was Darksiders 2, if you add up both versions of the game for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. That's the big winner. Sleeping Dogs also did really well for both systems. The Last Story, Pokemon Black and White version 2, Dragon Quest X, and the Olympics game. for both systems. So there you have it. For hardware, over in Japan, the top-selling console was the 3DS, which moved 70,458 units. The PlayStation 3 moved 12,516 units. The PlayStation Vita moved 10,142 units. The PlayStation Portable, 10,017 units. The Wii, 8,927 units. The DS, 1,382 units. And the Xbox 360, 735 units. Over in Europe, the top-selling console was the 3DS. 77,624 of those sold. The PlayStation 3 moved 49,573 units. The Xbox 360, 31,699 units. The Wii, 16,268 units. The Vita, 10,966 units. The PlayStation Portable, the DS, 7,983 units. Then the PlayStation Portable, 6,836 units. In North America, the top-selling console was the 3DS. 82,092 units of those sold. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 moved 56,069 units. PlayStation 3, 40,358 units. Wii, 18,893 units. DS, 14,902 units. The PlayStation Vita, 9,984 units. And the PSP, 2,154 units. So, obviously the big winner globally was the 3DS, followed by PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation Portable, and finally the DS. So that's what's going on in sales. So there you have it. So if you want to be on the show, contact me on Skype. Don't just send me a PM, or contact me on Skype. It's NecroVMX on Skype. You have to set up an appointment through Skype. Leave me your questions and comments. I look forward to them. VMX out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next week is the last episode of the season, so look forward to that.